Let's go. We see that hype outside. Right from now.
Hey guys, Golden here, and welcome to day 14 of the Fortnite versus Apple trial. Today, the judge actually questioned Apple, and it definitely seemed like she was a little bit suspicious of one of Apple's sources, so stay tuned for that. And at the end of today's trial, the judge confirmed something that you guys are going to be really excited for. And although today there wasn't too much important info, there was still some crazy stuff that went down today. And we only got one more full day of trial, because this Monday will be the last day of the trial, and will be ending around 3 p.m. EST, which is 3 hours before an actual day of the trial. So make sure you guys watch until the very end of today's video, so make sure you guys are ready for the final day of this trial. But either way, you guys know I don't want to waste you guys this time, so let's get right on into it. So first off, it actually started off with Apple's Hansons, who was actually sent to analyze the iPhone/iPad users to see if they regularly use other devices to access Fortnite. And Hansons actually claimed that 92% of iOS Fortnite players regularly use another device not from Apple, and 99% apparently could have used another device in the past 12 months. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that doesn't really sound like a good analysis. I mean, guys, they literally just claimed like a few weeks ago that apparently like 30% of users could actually use other platforms. However, apparently like 70% don't use other platforms, but now they're claiming that 92%. Epic does actually push Apple on this in just a bit, so stay tuned for that. So Epic then actually comes up to the stand to ask Hansons some questions, and it basically just tries to explain how Hansons does not have the expertise to analyze what would actually be considered a monopoly market. So their claim with this was basically, overall, this source from Apple is not actually good to analyze what a monopoly market would be in this case, which obviously Epic is accusing Apple of being a monopoly, but they're claiming that obviously this source from Apple knows nothing about monopoly power. But anyways, Epic then actually got Hansons to explain how his server actually didn't specifically confirm if people use the devices for gaming. So yes, guys, I use my printer all the time, but I'm probably not gonna play Fortnite on it. So guys, I mean, clearly this was not a good point from Apple. They're basically saying 92% of people have other devices not from iOS. I mean, guys, I have a Samsung TV, I have a smart fridge, like stuff like that. That is not for Fortnite gaming, so I don't think this is really a good analysis at all. I mean, guys, you all probably have Chromebooks. Obviously, 99% could obviously have a Chromebook. However, at the same time, 100% of those players are probably not gonna play Fortnite on their Chromebook. But anyways, then a new Apple representative comes up, alright, whatever, guys. Back to the long, hard, impossible to read last names. But basically, Malkowski was basically there to boost Apple's claim that its system is valuable, and Epic is simply seeking a free ride on their system. So basically, their point was that Epic is simply trying to get away from the 30% commission, which according to Apple, they very much apparently deserve, because they obviously created the operating system and created a platform for Fortnite on iOS. So according to Apple, they just want a free ride, which isn't really fair. Apple continues on to this point, explaining how without Apple's optimization tools for apps like Fortnite on iOS, the mobile device's batteries would actually drain much faster. I mean, obviously, guys, if you guys didn't have like Apple's, I think their system's called like Metal or something, which basically makes sure that your battery doesn't drain too quick, and obviously will limit the memory usage in order to make sure you have a good experience on gaming on mobile devices. However, their claim is obviously if they did not have these tools, Epic's game would be a lot worse of an experience, because obviously they would not have their tools. Epic then actually explains how they want to get another witness, or at least file documents, or like new documents, which you guys didn't know, usually it's not allowed in the court. However, Apple actually explains how Epic already had its chance to submit documents. And don't worry, guys, this will be important a little later on towards the end of this trial, so just stay tuned. But Apple then actually brings up an article explaining how threat actors have made livings off of actually taking advantage of iOS users by creating rogue apps on the App Store, which act like something they're not. Like, for example, a calculator app potentially having like a streaming service inside of it or something like that, which according to Apple obviously is not allowed and could potentially have malware on the devices. Now, here's where the judge actually questioned Apple. The judge actually asks, how can I be sure the source is not biased? And the Apple representative Ruben says he thinks it's a pretty trustworthy source. However, the judge was not convinced. And the judge then actually asks if it gets funding from Apple. And then Ruben actually says he doesn't think so, but he doesn't know for sure. So, I mean, guys, again, the judge definitely seems like she somewhat is siding with Epic, explaining how Apple's source might not be trustworthy, but I do definitely think she's a little bit sus of Apple. And Apple literally said it themselves, they're not sure if they actually pay this company or not. So they might literally be paying this quote-unquote trustworthy company to make good articles about Apple, which is a little bit suspicious, and clearly the judge was suspicious of that. But anyways, Epic then actually explains how sandboxing, which you guys didn't know, is basically Apple's built-in device security feature, and basically explain how many of the reasons Apple argues why Android is not secure are not necessarily applied to iOS because of iOS's sandboxing feature. So if you guys didn't know, Android actually does not have a sandboxing feature to protect the devices from different security risks, because obviously Android is just overall like kind of a worse security. And obviously Apple actually explained this themselves in the last trial day, explaining how 30 to 50 times more viruses are on Android than on iOS, which is kind of crazy to hear. But Epic's point was basically the same issues on Android would not necessarily be the same for iOS, because overall iOS has a better security feature, not just because of their app review. Now, Epic actually continued explaining how there are many differences why Android is more vulnerable beyond the fact that it allows third-party app stores. Like, for example, Epic explained how Android's authorized app store, like their verified app store, basically like the Apple App Store, actually allows much more malware onto it than the App Store, because the App Store overall is pretty good in security. There isn't much malware, and overall, Apple does a pretty good job of reviewing it. However, on the Play Store, they allow much more apps on it. Not just because of third-party apps. Overall, they just allow more apps on the Play Store. Anyways, Ruben from Apple then actually explains how he thinks it's pretty clear that your phone is more sensitive than your Mac, but Epic actually gets him to agree that people probably do use the Macs at work, in the living room, and in the bedroom, or potentially while they're working on confidential documents. So Epic's point was, although obviously, yes, phones have contacts, phone numbers, stuff like that on them, overall, the Macs still do have some privacy issues. For example, they have cameras and microphones as well, which obviously Epic explained how that could overall still provide some privacy issues, not just on iOS devices. However, still, Apple allows third-party apps on Macs, so overall, why don't they do it for iOS is basically Epic's point. Epic then actually asks if manual and automated app review is needed for exclusive distribution, and Ruben from Apple agrees. So Epic then actually asks if other app stores could simply implement their own form of manual review for their apps if they had all of Apple's resources. And Ruben says maybe if they quote-unquote cloned Apple. So guys, that was a really good point from Epic. Their point is basically stores like the Epic Game Store could still obviously review their apps on it and overall make sure that there's no malware on them in order to obviously compete with the main app store, because they want to be known as a secure app store where users can obviously go to get like really important apps and stuff like that on their app store without worrying about their information getting leaked. Overall, their point was other apps could basically replicate what Apple is doing, however, also allow more third-party apps and create a much better experience on iOS. So that was a really good point from Epic. But Ruben then actually explains how he has not actually conducted an analysis of the resources Apple puts into app review compared to other app stores. So Ruben's point here is overall, yes, although app stores could technically create their own app review, it would not necessarily be possible for all app stores because they have no idea how much money is put in. However, it could also be vice versa because perhaps there is like really little money put into it. But overall, obviously Apple doesn't have any statistics, so we don't really know. Now the day is finally coming to an end, and Epic then actually asked the judge if they could get another witness or at least submit one more document, and the judge actually says the record is a record, so there will be no addition. And she says the fairest thing to do is to leave the playing field as a playing field. So unfortunately, guys, Epic did not get a chance to submit any more documents. However, still, this is where it got good, and the judge confirmed something that is going to get you guys really excited for tomorrow, because the judge ended it off confirming that Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, will be making an appearance in tomorrow's court date. And she actually does confirm that Epic will be able to ask Mr. Cook questions, so we might actually see a Tim Sweeney versus Tim Cook tomorrow. And guys, tomorrow's gonna be good. So on that note, guys, tomorrow is going to be crazy, so make sure you guys stay tuned for tomorrow's video. And if you guys are excited for tomorrow's court day and obviously this trial coming to an end, make sure you guys all go to below and subscribe. with those post notifications on, and drop a comment down below now that we're towards the end of the trial, letting me know who you think is actually winning. Again, obviously, drop a like while you guys are down there, because dropping a like really does mean a lot. It supports this video so much. Yeah, guys, this has been 7 hours of court trial summarized in, I believe, under a 10-minute video, which is kind of crazy. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys tomorrow.